So today is the 11th of January and I'm going to continue making some props today, and I'm going to attempt to do the stick figures that I was talking about in one of the last videos. So I'll talk you through that process as I'm going along, and we'll see how it goes. So, making the stick figures. So I've got, I bought these from a craft place. They're just little twigs that are cut to a kind of all the same kind of length, and just about the right size that I need for the stick figures that I'm going to make. In order to kind of fix the twigs together, I'm going to use some wire, and I saw these packets of wire in the craft place that I was in, and they're all just cut to length little wires, so I'm going to use those to kind of wrap around and hold this in place. And then on top of that, because obviously I want to disguise the wires, I'm going to use some of this this big ball of twine that I've got. I'm going to use that, and I'm going to wrap that around. I'm going to wrap that around there, disguise the wire, and it looks slightly aged, doesn't it, because it's because of the colour of it. What I was going to originally use to wrap around and disguise the wire was this kind of raffia material, but it looks too kind of new, so I was going to kind of dye that down and make it look aged, but then I thought, well, I'll use this string instead because it looks kind of aged, especially from a distance. So that's probably going to save a little bit of time. So first things first, let's have a look. So let's have a look. So I haven't done this before, so this is the first time I'm kind of doing this. Let's have a look. Just wrapping that around. Probably could have been, I could have done with these being a bit longer actually. Okay, so that's kind of holding initially that in place, which looks fine. The next thing is to put a one that's got holes in it, looks a bit brittle. Let's find a stronger one. Is to kind of go across like that. We'll just do the same thing as what we've just done. This one's going to be a bit trickier, I think. Okay, let's just get that wrapped around into place first. Right. Oh, this is harder than I expected, to be honest. Right, next one. Well, I'm not going for neatness with these things. They're just supposed to be rough and ready, I think. And they're just gonna be hung from the ceiling. I'm probably going to do a few that maybe it's just kind of hung on a wall as well. So that's like that. And then we do have, I've got some shorter ones actually. That have been snapped off, so I'm going to use those. For what I need for this is, so we're going to have a one kind of down there like that, and that's supposed to be kind of the neck head of the stick figure. So we'll just try and get that one into place. Let's have a look. Oh, these are so fiddly, these little wires. They're very thin and very light. That's a bit of a mess, like trying to get these round again through the gaps and the holes. I just go that way and so just winding it around, this is just, you know, this is just keeping it in place so I can get the string on. The string, I'll tighten the string up so it's a lot tighter than this, because this is a bit loose actually, but it's firm enough for what we're doing. So we'll get that one around there, and it's getting there, isn't it? It's pretty much like the Blair Witch kind of stick figures. So the next thing is to kind of put the Hessian kind of wool around those bits. So I'm going to cut a length. I don't know how long I need it, so I'm going to cut it to about, maybe about there. And we'll try and we'll see what that looks like when I put this around. I'm going to tie that off first. Actually, I'm going to leave a longer length at the end so that I can tie off. I can tie it off once I've kind of finished. So I'm just going to kind of weave it around through and try and fix it. I don't know if you can see that properly. Let's have a look. So I'm going under, through, just trying to do it as best I can, to be honest. Let's have a look. Right, so I'm just going to tie these two little ends off. Hopefully that's long enough for it to get through. Ugh, this is a fiddly thing, this, like. Okay, so that's tied off. It's pretty firm. I'm just going to tie it, see if I can get that through again to make a little knot. Ooh, should have had a longer bit. No, that's not going to go through. Right, so we'll leave that like that. It's kind of getting there, isn't it? I mean, it looks figure-ish, doesn't it? Like a figure. So if I do the same, so if I tie some more string onto all of these joints, and then I'll turn the camera off while I do that, otherwise it's going to be a long and laborious video, this. So I'll put the string around. That's looking pretty nifty. Now on the original Blair Witch Project stick figures, it actually had kind of little tufty things on, like I think there was meant to be like kind of hands, and there was one up here for like maybe it's a head and a couple for feet. So what I'm thinking is if I kind of use some kind of material, you know, just to kind of glue that on. I've even got some shreds of, like, you know, the string. If I glued that on there, and it's kind of, you know, it's just rough and ready kind of stuff. So if I was to kind of glue that on there, that would make some kind of little head. So I'm going to try that, and then I'll show you the results. So I've got a bit of PVA glue. I'm just going to put a little blob on there. I'm going to get some of that string, which I've kind of I've pulled the strands apart to make a little fluffy kind of ball, little messy ball there, and I'm going to just scrunch it together, and I'm going to dab it in the glue. Right, and then I'm going to take the stick figure and I'm going to stick it on the top there, so it's kind of like supposed to be a head. Let's try and wrap it round a bit, scrunch it on. You get the effect, don't you? Like I say, it doesn't need to be neat and tidy. So that's looking okay, I suppose. And we'll kind of, I think I'll do the same with the hands. So I'll add something to there. So basically for this one, I was just trying to kind of copy the stick figures from the Blair Witch Project, but like I say, I'm going to try and do my own versions as well. so I don't want to be kind of blatantly copying it. So this was just kind of a tester to see how it would go together. So I'm going to carry on with this and I'll show you the results after I've finished. Okay, so what I've done is I've instead of doing the little tufts on the ends for the hands and the head, which I've got one here, but I've had to, the glue wasn't really working, so I've had to kind of use the string to tie the head on. And then what I had was I had this bag of like kind of feathers. So what I've done is I've added some feathers to this, and I've just kind of wound around some of the string to keep the feathers in place, and I think it looks pretty cool actually. So that's kind of one of the little stick figures pretty much done, I think. So I'm going to do some kind of variations of these. I've actually got loads of packets of different coloured feathers. I'm not going to particularly use all the bright coloured ones. I think the dark ones work the best. You know, I've got black and some of the kind of darker ones within these. These ones are pretty cool, which are the ones I've just used. So all of those, might use some of those. And I've got those. I got them actually from my mother, because she does all the crafty stuff. So she bought them. Apparently she's had them in the drawer for years and she's never used them, so that's cost me nothing to get those. These look pretty cool, don't they? So I'm going to need to make quite a few more of these. Like I say, I'll do some variations and I'll kind of show you all the results once they've kind of done. It's taken quite a while just to do this one figure, so it's probably going to take me several days to kind of get the amount that I need, because it's just me that's doing them. So yeah, I'm going to do a little variation, try something out, so I'll get back to you with that one in a momento. I've done another variation of the stick figure. It's not exactly it's not a figure, but it's just a bunch of sticks kind of, you know, clumped together, tied together, and again I put the feathers on, so that looks pretty cool as well. So I'm going to, like I say, I'm going to make just loads of different kind of things, whatever. I'm just going to play with some ideas, and so this is one I've just kind of stuck together. Yeah, I'll see what else I can come up with. So this is another one I've just knocked. This is a little crucifix. All I've done is I've tied a bunch of sticks together and tied in a lot of black feathers, like kind of, I don't know what bird they're from, but the looks quite effective. You know, this took me relatively, it was easy to do this one, to be honest. A couple of minutes to put this together. Looks quite effective. So if that's hanging up, you know, a little crucifix, or you can even kind of put it against on the wall somewhere. So yeah, let's see what else I can do. So I've come up with another very simple little thing. I've just stuck this little plastic skull on the end of one of the sticks, and it looks like a little, you know, cross from a grave kind of thing. So that's just a little simple one I've done. Also, what I did was I made this little kind of hangman's noose from a bit of string, bit of that twine. So I was going to pop that over his head, or her head, without being sexist. Pop that over the head, and we can use that, if it'll go on. Get on, yeah. So we can kind of hang it suspended from the ceiling, kind of like that, if we want to. So that's another simple little thing I've just kind of come up with on the spur of the moment. Yeah, it's a cute little fella, isn't he? Right, so I'm going to carry on making some more and see what else I can come up with. So I've got another one. This one I've just done. That looks pretty awesome, that, I think. Kind of, as I was putting it together, it kind of reminded me of like a dead bird or something. So I was thinking maybe he's potentially put some kind of fake blood on some of these leaves. That'll kind of give it a little bit more of a kind of gory effect as well. Quite like that one actually. It's just a bunch of white feathers stuck together on some of the sticks. That looks pretty cool. So I've done another little stick figure, pretty much similar to the other one, but using the feathers. This one I've used some yellow kind of toned feathers as opposed to the first one, which was kind of more greeny kind of feathers. And I've used a little feather on the top, like kind of, you know, more or less for the head, whereas for this first one I used the little kind of strands of the string. So we've got two little stick figures there going on. So I've got those, and I'm just gonna, I think I'll kind of end the video there, because all I'm going to do is just do loads of different variations of the same thing. So I'm just going to carry on doing that, probably today and tomorrow, and well, until I've got as many as I need. Okay.